August 31st, and we all have constituents who do this overdose awareness day. And Brian Collmore and I worked on it last year. I have a lot of things that I didn't want to exclude you if you wanted to. Oh, okay.
First I've heard of it.
It's happened probably 3 years with the governor making a proclamation. And this was to make it permanent. And the big question was lowering the flag. And we have them into GovOps to say we're happy to lower the BGS said we're happy to send out an email to encourage people to lower the flag.
Is that a proclamation?
Yeah, we passed it last year in the Senate.
Okay.
I
don't remember seeing it. I may well have signed on some of the proclamations, I don't know.
I think I did it really quietly last year, and it was a bill in GovOps. So this will be a bill in GovOps again. But I just didn't want to leave you out as the minority leader with other Republicans on it.
Am I on already?
I think you are. That's overdose awareness day. I can make sure you're on it. Yeah, I'll make sure. I think I got almost everybody. I just wanted to.
Yeah, because it's the lady Mary Kemp who's
Exactly.
really pushing
Yes.
it. We got
Yeah.
it to the governor. I said, I know there's things around flags.
Right, and we
I
sorted
don't
it out.
think
in
I
GovOps.
can just do this on my
Right.
own.
No, BGS said, we like to raise awareness about this day. We're happy to do this. And it didn't pass the House, it passed the Senate. So
But I thought,
this is the Prescription Drug Advisory Board. Ginny's on it. It's probably gonna go to Health and Welfare, but I just circled the people who said in the NEA survey that they might want to sponsor it. You don't have to. Just wanted to give you
there's an
this.
NEA survey.
Yeah, it said, would you be willing to sponsor legislation on a prescription drug advisory board? So Colin gave me that list.
Yeah.
This, sorry. This
They have
is
something about prescribing. Has answered a lot of questions.
This is about workers' comp and UI. It's some technical changes that the Department of Labor wants, and then it's also some AFT updates to how UI and workers' comp work.
I'm not gonna sign that because that one's gonna come here, I think.
It might, yeah, I don't know. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they took.
Circulate that to the other Rs who haven't signed it, because I suspect that they,
Yeah.
like me, were not even aware that it was being circulated.
I tried to, yeah, I was trying to get the last few folks. Do you wanna?
Did I sign it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, I see you got Sears also,
Mm-hmm,
and then you've got, a number of the Rs.
yeah,
And I don't know if I can catch them today or not,
right.
but certainly
Can you, so it's Norris Weeks Westman.
it's Norris, Westman, Weeks, and
Williams, you're right,
Williams.
yeah.
Those four. So I don't think, I don't know Colin signed it.
Yes, because I made sure to get him because
Yeah.
he and I did it together last
Yeah, I
year.
mean,
That would be amazing. I would love to get everybody.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to do the like.
I
I know, I can get it. Yeah.
I would have been on it, but I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, no, I just, it took a while with Michael Chernick because he wanted to like wait for some January 31st number around overdoses and
To get the right thing.
yeah, it just,
Yeah.
Michael was like so sensitive about getting this stuff out. I was like, it's just not true.
At 3:15. Yeah. That's until,
So 20 minutes.
I just gotta get Donald and Chittenden.
Okay.
Let me get Mark back in here. Yeah, see if Becky can go down. Okay, good, you are here. Where is it? Okay, Becky Wasserman is free until 3:15, so Mark,
We're getting back in. Mark.
Well,
We lit the threads.
all we need is a requisition for the printing press.
Randy, they're on break across the hall if you want to get
Oh.
back here.
Okay.
They just give grants.
I thought Jay usually lets them out for half an hour.
We have
O'clock.
Will you ask Senator
We're giving
Sears?
grants with.
Yeah, don't, if anyone sees Tom.
Senator Sears is in there, will you ask him too? Okay.
Because I
I was
want
here.
Yes.
It's a fascinating subject, just kind of interweaves, and goes down the river,
Down the
winding
river.
and unwinding.
Yes.
That's sewage.
Pardon?
That's sewage.
Sewage?
Sewer overflow winds
okay.
down the river.
Well, then, not to be confused with the sewer that goes into the sky.
Oh, Mark, this is a prescription drug advisory board. And you indicated to the NEA you might be interested in this. You don't have to sign it. I'm just trying to get it in today, so you would. I mean, obviously you don't have to
Hey,
sign it, but I don't care.
I applauded the last 2 days of more discussion. Point
Annoying people.
I believe from
Yes.
listening to you, you were sort of not the justice for all is what's going on.
Right,
And we're all complicit in not being aggressive to make that happen. And I know
We are live, yeah, so
oh,
just be aware.
And that's our system.
yeah,
You know. So I talked to the editorial head this weekend, substitute the preamble to the Constitution.
yeah. Oh, I missed it.
As in lieu of
Okay,
says
Becky is
designed
coming
to have
over, and I thought we
Yeah.
would
justice for the
go back
country,
and go
Which
through
paper was
in
mine?
a little more
as
detail.
opposed to a statement
And
that claims that it exists.
Yeah,
Start
yeah.
getting some of those, like, how long, and what, and. Yeah.
Tom, this is a bill that you indicated you wanted to read up on that Liz Medina talked about.
That's called
From
from the
AFL-CIO.
So he's
Okay.
just working.
I just don't understand just much.
Okay.
Enough.
That's fair.
The other three I like.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. This is prescription drug advisory board, just so you know.
We've been talking about,
Yeah.
I'm submitting it today.
Mm-hmm. I just need to get all my bills. I'm gonna lose some otherwise.
This sounds starting to sound like a veggie grant. Matthew, I just wanted to let you know, Carver, who has the curly hair,
Yes.
he sits down at Shadow with me this week, so I just wanted to chat with him. I think he's North Country Union High School. He was a paid.
Gave a difference.
I think, I was just his like vehicle to return because he's gone to see speaker and everybody, he knows everybody. And I was like, I'll sign your paperwork for your class or Jill, do you ever like summon pages?
Not yet.
Okay. Like, we're gonna get back together at 3:15?
No,
Or next,
Becky is on
okay.
her way.
Oh,
She's
okay.
free till 3:15.
Okay.
I could go deliver them to them.
Well, I feel bad making you do that.
I can go and take them.
Are you sure that, I guess I feel bad making anybody do that, but I just want to get these in because I want them out on Thursday because we're gonna take them on the committee.
So these go to the.
The green jacket, anyone with a green jacket in the middle. I hope that was clear. Does anyone need a pink envelope or anything?
It's interesting how the vocabulary takes on different definitions. Was a computer seen
No, I never heard of it.
take a driver's test, evaluation test.
Oh,
And there's a scene in the movie where the parent is teaching the kid how to make a left-hand turn, basically just like left you pull out the intersection, you wait until lights changed.
Yeah.
My driving instructor, was a test, called that camping out in the intersection.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still legal?
Pardon?
Is it still legal?
Well, she says, you know, when you're instructed now, when you take driver's test, you're supposed to wait at the stop line and the crosswalk until it's okay to go. But you can
That
wait
means you
there, the
don't,
light turns red, and then the next one comes on.
and you don't get through.
Yeah, and camping out.
And you can camp out and then you can make that right as it turns red.
So I was told my laws of 1910 that I have up there were passed in
Did they have
1910.
driving laws in 1910?
It was the beginning of freedom being taken away. They
Hi,
said,
Becky.
if you have oncoming traffic, you're obliged to move over and pass them on the right. If you overtake, you have to do it on the left, and have instructions on how to make left-hand turns.
Okay,
So they give it to
Becky,
my driving instructor
we
after I.
we're not
passed
talking about driving. We just took testimony on the mini tips. And it's Tuesday, not Friday afternoon in an ice storm. So I thought if you had a few minutes, because we had a bunch of witnesses cancel. Just walk us through the details. Last week we did the 300, yeah, we got into a philosophical argument. This time there was the details of how much debt you can incur, if there's any, who can do it, for how long. And just, we'll get a little more into it.
Okay. Becky Wasserman, Legislative Council. I do only have about 15, 20.
Yeah, we have the auditor coming in.
Okay. I will go into as much detail as I can. So S83 is establishing a project-based TIP program, and it will operate similar to the TIP district model, but with smaller scale projects. So just very high level, this is not a pilot program. This is establishing a program that is open to any municipality unless they have a TIP district already in their municipality. And municipality can only apply for one TIP project.
One total or one at a time?
I believe under eligibility, yeah, there's on page 5 of the bill that VEPC is authorized to approve only not more than one project per municipality.
So that would, yeah, so Montpelier couldn't do a mini TIF for their parking garage and then a mini TIF for the development on Barry Street. They would have to pick and choose just one, and the same with Hartford. They couldn't do, because that was the example that Abby Sherman used, that rather than do this huge 187 acres or something, that they could have done it in smaller pieces, but in fact they couldn't.
The language is currently drafted limits it to not more than one project per municipality.
Okay, which means for anything that's gonna have any real impact on downtown White River, we're gonna have to leave the big TIFs in place.
Yes, and for that example with Hartford, because they have a TIF district, they would not be eligible.
Right, so that was, she did this is what Hartford could have done. They could have, they could have just done this one block with, but that wouldn't work. And that also, what I'm trying to figure out is how we can do this without increasing impact to the ed funds, because that's a death knell. That would probably get it vetoed. So if we can get it through. So I'm trying to figure how we can help smaller towns. But maybe we just put a moratorium for 5 years and make this a 5-year pilot project and watch it. 'Cause Rutland, somebody got me in the hall and said Rutland was interested in a TIF district. And I said, well, depends, what were their chances or something? And I said, depends on what they want. And they might want to take a look at this. Okay.
Yeah, and not having any of the information off the top of my head, there is still a limit in statute on the number of additional districts and the
Did we
number,
limit it to,
and the number per county as well.
yeah, we played around with that, those numbers, and we've never come up against them. But if the numbers are anywhere near what they think they are, we could have a whole lot of mini TIFs, and it wasn't until we got the auditor's report on St. Albans that we found some things we forgot in the legislation. And so, yeah.
And to your point about the impact on the education fund, there's no limit, sort of total debt ceiling limit for a project in this bill. So that could be a consideration for the committee of how to perhaps limit impact, is to set some sort of debt ceiling.
So there's no project limit, there's no debt limit, and the suggestion from Abby Sherman, Sherman and Shepherd are really throwing me here. From Abby Sherman was that the debt increment financing, the ability to withhold the payments, the increment payments from the ed fund should be the same as the length of the bond, because some of the federal programs run 40 years. That's it. We may need to put some fences around some of these things. Is what's in here now for that?
For the tax increment, so the on page 11 of the bill, the use of increment, there is up to 80% of the tax increment may be retained to service the debt and related costs. And that is,
Yeah,
I'm noticing that I'm not seeing for period of time, so I just want to double check.
yeah, and 100% of the municipal.
Yeah, it's 100% of the municipal tax.
Yeah, that I heard. Right now, is it 75? I know that's a number we played with too.
Yeah, 75 is for tip just,
Big tips.
or sorry, 70 is for big.
For big tips.
For most of them, the ones I think after
The new ones,
the newer ones, yeah.
the ones we take responsibility for, because it's hard.
So this actually doesn't have a retention period stated as 20 years in this language. I'm just noticing that. So that is another consideration for the committee.
All right.
So the TIP districts do have a 20-year
Which is
period.
done because that's the general life of the bond. You would go to the bond market. Yeah, some federal bills may go 40 years, but that just, they may have to get a little more creative in their financing, but
The eligibility section, I'm looking at page 6, line 1, and we just heard testimony, I could have sworn I heard Ted Brady say that these towns will have the support of the CCRPCs, they'll have support, I think you mentioned that, or the regional planning commissions and others. But in the eligibility, it states clearly that the municipality must be able to show an ability to manage the project with requisite experience and plan for fiscal viability. Do you know if that's the same that's current for the large scale projects? Is that the same requirement for them?
I'd have to double check the language. I believe that this is different language from what is in the TIP
I think
district.
that's because the big places have planning and finance departments. The little ones frequently don't even have a town manager or a part-time town manager. They just have 3 select board members and an elected clerk treasurer.
So I know it's not an eligibility requirement for the TIP districts. I just don't know if part of the like TIP financing plan, if there's some
Something.
financial expertise requirement, and I can
I
check
think
that and
we've
get back to you.
always looked at those as for big towns, just because they were big projects. And by the time they got through this middle process, they had to demonstrate. But,
Or my concern, and so if there's a way for that language to maybe include the requisite experience and plan for fiscal viability in concert with their regional planning commission or other.
well, we should have regional planning or probably economic development. Might be a more logical place to seek that, but see if Tri-Central Vermont, they're new. But
I think another consideration for that is if there would be a cost to having that assistance provided, and whether that would be considered a cost covered by this.
And was it Tom Brady? No. Ted Brady said that part of the allowable cost would have to include the expertise. I don't know if it made it into the bill, but we know we've had problems with debt service until you get the development you pay out of the bond. And then the other one, yeah, if you have to hire. Believe me, we got into whether or not they put better dirt than they should have under the parking garage in St. Albans. I mean,
We should have been using used dirt.
Dirty dirt.
or no dirt at all. But
I remember talking about the dirt a lot.
yes, we did. And you end up saying, what is the problem here? You know, you want to put up a garage, it was who was supposed to pay. So anyway, and it was on, I think they took out, it was a brownfield, right? Or they took out the
They
bad
took out
dirt.
the old dirt, and there was an issue of, did they go effectively too far and beyond the scope?
Putting in new dirt. Taking out the old dirt was okay.
That notion of limiting the amount of debt that these projects could accumulate towards, has that been done with the previous steps?
Not, is it in statute?
I'm sorry, the concept of a debt ceiling, or using the debt to service to pay back?
Debt ceiling.
There's no debt ceiling, it's just that they have to come up with a financing plan that's approved by VEPC. So I think part of what VEPC is looking at is whether the projects that they're proposing, like whether they could, with the private development that's coming in, they're going to be able to pay back the debt in that period of time.
I think what we just heard is they may not, with these little mini TIFs, I mean, my concern is if Westford puts in its sewer system or septic tank, and the guy that wanted to build a restaurant but couldn't, has found another place to put his restaurant, and nothing happens, then the town is on the hook for the sewer plant, but there's no increased value. Tom says, once the grand list value goes up, like gas, I don't know how, just because you put in water and sewer, it might increase the value of the lot, but it isn't until the lot is sold and there's something on it that you see a real increase in value. So I don't know. Becky, we've got you over time.
Just trying to look up quickly the debt ceiling question. But I think I can review the statute. I think it's just a matter of whether or not they can pay back based on their proposal.
Whether or not it's a realistic that it's gonna cost us this much to put in this much sewer line. If they hit a granite ledge, they'd probably be back. Okay, thank you. You've got a whole 10-minute break. Then the auditor is going to come in to talk about the Hartford TIF. And the people from Hartford could not be here today. And they can't be here until next week.
Yeah, one
Will they be here today?
No,
Not on Zoom?
no. And we waited 2 weeks because the Hartford town manager wasn't available when we got it. So